Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8:02 a.m. You are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It's Wednesday, the 6th of September. Boy, the year is going by quick. Got to September before we even knew it. Like, holy cow, man. But it's Wednesday, a little rainy outside. We gave you the weather. I'm going to give it to you again here momentarily. We've got a lot to discuss today. It's Life Insurance Awareness Month. Very important topic, and we've got a very important guest, a VIP, in the studio back for number 3. That's right, time number 3. Our dear friend and State Farm insurance agent, Annie Kinsley, is here. Kinsley team.
That's right.
How you feeling?
I'm great.
All right.
Doing
all right.
great.
Yep. So we had a lot to talk about before the microphone came on. We'll be telling the people all about the different aspects of life insurance, what they should know, what they need to know, and the importance and the benefits of life insurance, term life, and all of those things. So we're gonna flip the carpet out and clean it today.
You got it.
Before we get into it, this is something that I've been doing, and it's been making me feel good, and people have said that they've taken a benefit to it too. How are you feeling today?
I am feeling great despite it's rainy and gloomy out. Every day I wake up and I'm blessed to face the day and just try to get through it. My glass is always half full, never half empty.
I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. With room to pour more. Absolutely.
That's
Let's
right.
fill ourselves up. Josie Mendoza Geller, good morning. Saul Olivas, good morning. Daniel Calderon. He says, good morning, Aurora, and welcome back. I appreciate that, Daniel Calderon. And Peter Aguilera is here. Peter, we were just talking about you. How about that?
Yeah.
Just talking about how much we love Peter Aguilera. Okay. I think I'll give him the news now and or the weather right now and get that out of the way for these great people. The time is 8:04. So if you tuned into Aurora weather already, you will have known that today is it's a rainy Wednesday, but it looks like after today, there will be no more rain in our forecast. 85 degrees will be today's high, 74 degrees will be tomorrow's high, and 75 degrees on Friday. Great weekend ahead, nice weather ahead, a lot to do this weekend as well. We've got the news that you guys love, and we'll give that to you around 8:30 or something like that. So I'm curious. Let's start off with Life Insurance Awareness Month. How long has that been a thing?
That has been a thing for as long as I've been in the industry, for 20 years. So every year in September is when the insurance industry talks about being aware of life insurance and what's available.
Okay. And most people don't know.
No, they don't. A lot of people that I talk to tell me, well, I already have it through work. That's great, but most of the time people don't know what they have through work, how much they have. And one of my fortes is sitting down with people and uncovering the needs and filling in those gaps.
Okay. And you have been, how long have you been an insurance agent?
I've been a State Farm agent going on 2 years on October 1st.
That's correct.
In Aurora. However, I've been in the industry for 20 years, and I've worked for many life insurance companies in the past. But with State Farm, I've been representing for the past 12 years.
All right. And you are located at 2590 Ogden Avenue.
2906.
2906. Okay.
Ogden, next to the Chinese restaurant.
That's
by
right.
Fuller's
Golden
Car Wash.
Sea.
Golden
Yeah, that's
Sea.
right. Great
Yep.
place.
Yep.
Well, with all of the industry knowledge that you have, it's definitely, certainly a boon for the customers to meet you and work with you, and learn from you. When you meet customers and they don't have an idea of life insurance or the benefit of life insurance, and they just tell you I get it through work and everything. How do they feel when you do begin to educate them and teach them?
Well, they are surprised sometimes because they don't realize that what work policies do in comparison to having a standalone policy that you control. So most of the time they'll say, I'm going to check with my HR representative, see how much I have, and then we do a second appointment to uncover what they have through work and how I can fill in that gap for extra insurance for their families.
What is I know the benefit, but for the listeners, what is the benefit of life insurance?
Well, the benefit of life insurance is not for the person that has passed away, obviously. It's for the people you leave behind, whether it's a loved one, whether it's family. It just helps them get through everyday life. Life insurance isn't made for a person to become rich or very wealthy. It is there to cover the need of the family and friends that you leave behind. So whether you're single, married, with children, without children, I feel everyone needs some form of life insurance, because at the end of the day, whether it's a parent that's needing to have final expenses for you, or it's a spouse that needs to live on without your income, or it's your children that need to be raised without your income. That's why it's important for everyone.
I learned, and we will you have a testimonial as well, which we will talk about later on, but I'll put my cards on the table now. I learned a lot when my dad passed away, and the process was a mixture of emotions, somewhat frustrating, very much so, to deal with and understand and, work with the industry, what have you, in that moment. And I hope that somebody can take from this conversation the way to fully take care of yourself and each other, like we tell people, but to know and have that knowledge that, those final expenses are very, they're extreme in some cases. And I don't think the average family is prepared for that. What have you seen? What's some of the tests or the stories that you've heard from folks in this industry, specifically on this topic?
Sure. So we've heard stories of people that have it through work and they're waiting a while to get paid on it. In the meanwhile, they have to pay their mortgage, they have to pay their everyday bills, they have to raise their children, and that becomes a strain when you're waiting to get paid on life insurance. But when you don't have enough of it, that's when it becomes a severe issue. As you mentioned, final expenses aren't as, they're very expensive. It could be when you go in to prepare for a funeral, you're emotionally upset, and a lot of times you can spend more than you should. Mm-hmm. A lot of times the funeral directors are looking for, hey, do you have a life insurance policy? If you do, they're letting you pick whatever you want. But if you don't, they're going to nickel and dime every single thing you want to plan for this person. Another thing that I have found is that, funeral costs are going up. It's not getting less expensive. But then I hear customers say to me, well, I'm not looking for a proper burial. I just want, to be cremated, and that's fine. But that also costs money. Nothing is free, unfortunately. So depending on what your family values are and what your traditions are, you need to make sure you have that money set aside for that. That's just the final expense piece, Curtis. I mean, then you're talking about living without that person's income.
Right.
After the funeral and everything's said and done, life must go on without that person. How are you planning for that?
Right. What has how has life insurance in the industry progressed or changed or updated in the time that you've been in the industry? What's some of the major changes that have taken place since?
Well, exciting news. Back in the day, if you bought something called a term life policy, that is good for 10, 20, or 30 years. And after that years are done, then you could continue that policy, but you would pay more based on every year that you have a birthday. So you're only locked in for 10, 20, or 30 years. Now the industry has changed where we've become more flexible with that. We have something called a return of premium life policy. People love this one. This is popular for people that may have a mortgage or some high debts to be concerned about. And if they buy this policy for the next 20 or 30 years and they don't pass away during the time that they have the policy, well, then there's a full refund tax-free that is granted to you at the end of the term. Because a lot of people would say to me, well, what's in it for me if I don't pass away? I'm going to pay all this insurance and I didn't pass during that time frame. What's in it for me? So now they have that. I'm super excited to say that we now have a policy available for people ages 45 to 80 that may have a pre-existing condition and have been declined by another life insurance company. We at State Farm do have a product for them now. It's called a guaranteed issued final expense. It's either a $10,000 or a $15,000 policy, but there's no exam, no interview. It's an instant issue when you purchase the policy.
What's a pre-existing condition?
Pre-existing conditions can be anything from having heart disease, asthma, diabetes, anything like that, that as you get older, you're at a higher risk of developing these illnesses. So sometimes if you've had severity in those illnesses, life insurance companies can either do something called a table rating, which they'll charge you a little extra to have the insurance, or they can flat out decline you. So when a person gets declined, and I've talked to people in the past that have said, I've been declined, I'm never going to get any. Now I'm happy that State Farm does have this guaranteed issue plan for them because it gives them peace of mind.
People are declined and just live life without having insurance.
Correct. Yep. And then the other option is to put money in a savings account or in some type of fund that your family can use that money when you pass away, or go to a funeral director and prepay your burial in advance.
Now when you mentioned the folks who have the employer insurance, you also mentioned extra insurance or having your own independent standalone policy. Mm-hmm. So on the one hand, it's totally fine to do that. And as you mentioned, the benefit is you being able to withdraw or be able to use those funds without the, another HR having to do that for you.
Right. You have control of the policy. So if you have a life insurance policy with your employer, while your loved one is waiting for that to be paid off and paid to them, they now have an independent plan that you purchased, that you have controlled all those years, that they can contact their insurance agent and we can get a payment out to them immediately. There's always investigating going on. When someone has passed away, there's a requirement that a death certificate is supposed to be turned in to the insurance company. But what I love about our company at State Farm is you can get an electronic deposit put right into the beneficiary's checking or savings account, or you can get a paper check traditionally. Or if you did not want all the funds all at once, did you know, Curtis, that you can actually get paid on a monthly basis? So if you're choosing a beneficiary that you think, I don't want this person to receive $250,000 in one lump sum, they can get paid monthly on that benefit. I also have experiences where customers have said, I honestly don't need the death benefit right now, and State Farm can house it and put it on an interest plan where the death benefit is gaining interest. So when you go to receive that tax-free benefit, it will actually grow more than what you started with. And
how can folks find out about these wonderful programs and services?
Well, they'd have to give me a holler. Annie Kinsley, State Farm. My number is 630-820-5400. We're there 9 to 5, Monday through Fridays. I do Saturday appointments from 9 to noon. Or you can email me at Annie@thekinsleyteam.com.
Now, we are going to talk more about different, mortgages, debts, children and what have you. But I did want to take the moment to point out that you are always in the community, and you're always doing different things in the community, spreading this word at various events. I think most recently was Java Plus.
Yeah, I helped out with the COP Coffee Night. I sponsored that.
Coffee with a Cop Night.
Coffee with a Cop Night. Yeah, it's 2 years in a row I've been doing that for Java. So I love supporting the community. I especially love being involved in the community and educating them about different things in life, whether it's insurance or if I could be a sponsor of any kind. I love doing that for my community here.
Now, before the mics came on, and I was telling you about the idea that I had, I work in housing. I found that sometimes at the resource fair or the, whatever it is, the ice cream social, what's happening, you meet people and they find out what you do. Sometimes they're a little bit more open to talk to you outside of the office setting, to see if you can help them, and then come into the office setting. Is that the kind of thing that happens in insurance as well?
Yes. There's many times where I'm at either a golf outing or some type of event, and someone will approach me and ask an insurance question. I'm that insurance agent that whether you have it through me at State Farm or you're with another State Farm agent, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And I just have a nonchalant approach that, hey, if you're comfortable working with me, I'd love to work with you further. If you're not, it's okay too.
Right. Right. Some really responsible Americans. They're playing golf and asking questions about insurance.
Right on, right on.
Hey, I'll take a Long Island. But actually, I got a question for you. So let's just say.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time is 8:17 a.m. You are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. I'm going to give these lovely folks two quick pieces of the local news, and then we will get back to our discussion here with our dear friend Annie Kinsley. Now, since we talked about Java Plus, I'm going to give you guys a very cool piece of information right now. Our friends at Java Plus have a chili cook-off. Oh my goodness gracious, taking place Saturday, October 21st, as you can see it right there on your screen. This is going to be at 1677 Montgomery Road, which is where Java Plus is located. And the entry fee is $25 for the entry, and there's an application as well. So the QR code that's on the screen that you can see, you can feel free to scan that. We've posted this. Feel free to go to our Facebook page and take a look at that. Saturday, October 21st, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Cook, compete, or just eat. Now, here's the thing. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Curtis, man, I see $7 on the screen. Do you mean that if I just pay $7, I can eat all the chili and try it? Yes. That's how that works. If you pay $7, you can try the chilies, and people are going to be doing their very best to win. So you'll be eating some really good chili. Shout out to Java Plus. They do a whole lot of good things in the community. Javier Burgos, good morning to you, dear sir. And Michael Rayford's here. Good morning, Michael Rayford. Okay, the next thing that I have to tell you guys about is the Free Disability Family Resource Fair. That's going to be taking place September 13th, 5:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Prisco Community Center. This year is going to be different because there's going to be a guest speaker that's coming through. This is presented by the City of Aurora, as always, and you can learn about community resources for various things, including employment, transportation, and vision impairment. Just a few things. The information is there on your screen. Please feel free to take a look at that information and come on out. This event is free, open to the public, and very helpful for our beloved community here in Aurora. The time is 8:19 a.m. Listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Okay, so next thing's next. Let's talk about the mortgages and debt. And how one can assuage themselves of that and what to do with the mortgages and debt.
Sure. So when I sit down with a customer, we go over fact-finding information. So in order to find out what needs you have for life insurance, we talk about what debts you have that are important for you to cover. If in case you are not there, the mortgage and the bills continue to come in.
Right.
So how does that affect your spouse or family members that are living in that household? They're going to have to continue to pay that mortgage payment, any credit card debt you might have, any car payments you might have. Is it important if you have a family? Is it important to make sure that that house is paid for so you alleviate that debt from your spouse so they can maybe take a part-time job? There's a lot of dynamics that occur when someone passes away. You know, is your spouse able to go back to work right away and live everyday life, or will he or she need, 6 months off of work just to get through it? So that's what we talk about in filling in those gaps. We're talking about what your mortgage balance is, how much longer you have on that mortgage. We talk about any car payments, when those are going to be paid off. We talk about any credit card debt that needs to be eliminated. And then we talk about final expenses and any education that you would like to leave for your children. Sometimes that's important to families where I sometimes talk to a parent and they say, well, I want to make sure I set $50,000 aside for my child's college education to give them a head start. Sometimes they want that on there as well. So we cover all of those needs, and then we come up with a plan, and that's when I give you the pricing. So not everybody has the same cookie cutter life policy. I'm not that kind of agent. I'm not going to just throw a number at you and say, how does that sound? I'm going to sit with you and I'm going to talk about what's important to you to make sure we have the right plan.
Yeah, you brought that up in our very first interview ever. And I remember that stuck with me because I think many people in their, maybe trying to get a car and different things, many people have maybe not thought about that and just go there, sit there, pay, leave and haven't been thought about, do I need this much insurance? What is my life like right now, and how applicable should or could my insurance policy be towards my life? That's empowering.
Yes, a lot of times someone will come in and say, I'm looking for life insurance. Great, sit down. How did you come up with that? Tell me more.
Right.
Tell me more.
Okay, and then the family benefits, or actually, I wanted to talk about the tiers, so let me scratch myself up. So the different tiers. Can you explain to us the different tiers?
Tiers as far as like you're talking about different life policies
Yes.
that are available?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just say I'm speaking to a college student. This one is very important. And let's just say that the parent is on the college student's loans. Does that college student need to be covered for life insurance? Because heaven forbid something happens to that college student. At the end of the day, the parents are now on the hook for those college loans because their names are associated with that loan.
Right.
So we do offer for younger people, they have 10, 20 plans, and they are whole life policies. So these are permanent plans, Curtis. So what that means is you're done paying them off in either 10 or 20 years, and then the policy is building cash flow for that insured. And then at the end of the time that you pay that policy, you have it for the rest of your life, all the way to age, believe it or not, 121. Our whole life policies go all the way to 121.
Oh, wow.
So, whoever thinks to live to be 100, well, it's quite possible. Sometimes we see people on the news celebrating their 103rd birthday. So it is possible to live beyond 100. I mean, doctors are keeping us around longer.
Yes.
And we've done a good job on keeping ourselves healthier than generations in the past.
Yes.
So with the college students or young children, I do offer those 10 or 20 pay plans. They're paid off. Parents love them because they don't have to continuously pay on that policy. And it builds money for them for their financial future. So we will go over those with people as well to find out what need they have and how much they're looking to obtain. Now, if we're looking at somebody that's over 21 and they're starting out a career and they haven't necessarily bought their own home yet or developed a family or a relationship yet, we do have products like that for them as well, but we also have term life. Term life is the least expensive policy you could get out there. The only problem with term life is that it's only a contract for a period of time, as I mentioned, 10, 20, or 30 years. So what that means is your rate is locked in for that period, but then once the period ends, then you will continue the policy if you want to, but it's going to end up costing you more money every year you have a birthday. So whenever I offer life insurance to a customer, I tell them once a year we have to get together and we have to see if anything life-changing occurred. Did you buy a house? Did you get married? Did you have children? Did you switch jobs? So just like you would talk to your financial advisor when you change jobs, or you talk to your insurance representative when you make a change, you should be talking to your insurance agent, because we're the ones that are protecting that future for you. So we need to know if anything has changed. Other products that we offer are the guaranteed issued policies that we talked about briefly. We also have universal life insurance. That's for somebody that wants to pay a little bit less than a whole life, but wants the commitment of having something permanent. You can get those too. The only thing I say with those is you have to watch them every year, because you have to make universal life. So it builds cash flow. It's a permanent policy. It's flexible with the premium that you put into it. You could borrow against it if you needed a loan in the future. So those are great plans. The whole life policies are also permanent that you could borrow against or withdraw from. So there's different options for everybody depending on what their needs are.
People are living longer. Are younger people saddled with more debt these days?
I would say yes, especially college debt. I hear it all the time when I'm doing a homeowner's policy for a couple that just got married. And they say, well, we have some college loans and now we have a mortgage. So they have a lot of debt going into a home after they graduate. So, yeah.
Wow. What are the opportunities with State Farm and the Kinsley team?
Opportunities as far as what? I'm sorry.
Like employment? Can we join the team?
Oh, sure. I'd love to have you. I'm always looking for talent. So if you are interested in a position and you're intrigued by the insurance industry, of course, give me a call and I'd love to meet with you.
What intrigued you about the industry?
You know, I got involved in this after September 11th, and I did a career change. And what intrigued me about being an insurance agent is the fact that I can help you protect yourself. Because when you see events that occur on the news, I see like a fire in an apartment complex. I always think in my mind, I hope those renters had something to protect their personal property with. Or if you hear of Maui, unfortunately, all those people that passed away in the fires, did they have life insurance? What's happening with the family that was left behind? It's always in my mind. I always want to help people. I'm not the agent that wants to just sell you a product. I'm the agent that wants to educate you on what we have available for your need.
Right. Time is 8:27 a.m. September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. Yes, that's correct. Michael Rafer, appreciate that. Juan Cayetano, good morning to you. Morning, folks. Wishing you all a successful day out there. And you're welcome, Peter Aguilera. No problem, sir. Share with us your testimonial, as you would, please.
Yes, of course. 6 years ago, my mother passed away. She had COPD, and when she passed away, we had found out that she had a life insurance policy through her employer. None of us in the family knew that she had this. So my father asked me to contact the company and let them know. We sent in the death certificate. It was with a company based out of New York, and dealt with them for 9 months until we got paid the benefit. 9 months, everyone. That's a long time to wait.
Wow.
So if my father didn't have her funeral arrangements paid for, and say we really needed that life insurance to do her final expense planning, that would have put a strain on our family. That's when you see Facebook notifications out there for GoFundMe. They're helpful, but you're never going to collect enough on there to take care of those final expenses. So that's my testimony, is that I was living proof with my mom that it took that long to get paid out on a work benefit.
Wow.
That's my fear when people say I have it through work. I say that's great. Take as much of it as you can through your employer, because those are group plans. But please, please get yourself a separate policy that you control and you know the ins and outs of the policy.
Right. Wow. That's 9 months.
9 months. Yep.
9 months. When my dad passed away, I have to say the iron workers, local union number 1 in Chicago, were quite rapid and quite quick with paying out benefits. And that made me, I have to say, that made me actually feel a little bit better about humanity. It really did. That such a large, sprawling organization with so many members took the time to, take care of a family going through and grieving, and what we're talking, with paying out benefits. That was, hearing your story and comparing it to mine is like, wow, that 9 months.
9
months. That is terrible.
Yeah. So you just don't know.
Right. Time is 8:29 a.m. So I think, was it the age 45 through 80? Was that the return premium plan?
No, the return of premium can be any age. The age 45 to 80 is our guaranteed issued policy, meaning if you have pre-existing conditions and you could not get approved with a life insurance policy, we now have those available. They're worth $10,000 or $15,000. So they're mainly used for final expenses for people.
Okay. Let's talk events. What's coming up? Recently,
What do I have going on?
Yeah, what you got going on?
Thanks for asking.
Brother got tongue tied. Hold on, you know what? That doesn't happen to me often.
Well, my next event is going to be at Fox Valley Mall on Friday, the 22nd of September, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's with Brandon Leiden's Community Collective program.
Okay.
So I am the main sponsor. There's going to be different tables set up for home usage things, such as insurance, attorneys available for any trusts or wills that you might need. Different types of vendors will be there. We even have Jen Mendoza, who's representing our women's networking group.
Okay,
Jen.
Go
Jen. So, there's going to be a lot of us there, and it's going to be a great event. All you have to do is pop into the mall and stop by and see all the tables, and we'll give you some information on anything you need for a homeowner.
September 22nd.
The 22nd. And even if you're renting, please stop by, because there's so many resources for you as well.
You got a flyer for that yet? Is there
it's out. I have it out on social media, and I can send it to you on an email if you'd like to promote it for me. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else? besides the 22nd that you got?
Well, I'm going into October. I'm looking for any firehouses that are willing to allow me to pass out some fire safety kits. So
Tracy Duran.
Yes. So we're going to get that connected. And it's my anniversary month in October. So anyone that needs a sponsor to do anything, I'm more than happy to help out.
All right. Very cool. And you mentioned that you got into this industry after September 11th.
Yes.
The anniversary of which is Monday.
Yes.
How you feeling?
You know, I was a travel agent at the time that September 11th occurred, so it plays back in my mind every year because even though I was not in New York or at the D.C. area, it affected me because I was managing a team out of New York City. So this team that I was managing was stuck in a high-rise building watching everything unfold. Therefore, I didn't even have to turn on the news to see the towers go down. I got to hear about it through my employees that were working in that building.
Wow.
And after the event occurred, we had to do these safety checks here in downtown Chicago where we had to do these kind of like a fire drill, but it was a drill if in case terrorist attacks and such. So I remember being pregnant with my daughter going down the stairwell, 80 flights of stairs. Oh. And in my mind, I couldn't help but think of all the people we lost, firemen, police officers, just citizens of the city and how they perished in that building. And I thought, you know, I have to go and protect people. I have to get out of this industry and move on. So that's what prompted me to become an insurance representative. I want to help protect people.
Wow. That's a powerful story. That is a very powerful story. And thank you for sharing that. I hope it wasn't too personal to ask that question.
No, not at all.
But since you mentioned that and since September 11th is coming up, my son not that long ago asked me, what happened September 11th? Why does everybody, he's just turned 11.
Yeah.
It was a monumental time in history. I remember where I shared with him where I was. But that's important. Thanks for sharing that. I do appreciate that. 8:34 is the time. So we'll see what we can do to help about the firehouses too, to get those kits out for you as well. Tracy Duran, good morning. David Bowman is here. Good morning, David Bowman. Joe Jackson is here. Hesed House. Good morning to all of you great folks. And Stephanie Nunez, Aisha Saxon, and Larry Acevedo III. Good morning to you as well, Larry. Okay. Do a couple more pieces of the local news for these great folks, and we will get back to our discussion here. All right, guys. So the Neighbor Project, just to be clear with you guys know, or some of you started to learn, that Curtis works in housing. So I'm always dedicated to trying to work for and do things for the benefit of folks who are renters trying to go into home ownership, or folks who are perhaps looking for that first rental. Very important times in someone's life. We will be at two great events taking place this weekend. The first of which on your screen is Compañeros en Salud. That means partners in health in Spanish. It's the health festival this Saturday, the 9th, from 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Prisco Community Center. This event is free, open to the public, and it has various different health stations that'll be going on too, as well as breakfast, prizes, and raffles. So 9 a.m. is Know Your Health. What does that say? Know Your Health number. Sorry, the font is very small in these flyers when they give them to me. And even with 4 eyes, I have to strain. 10 a.m. is How to Read Food Labels. That's very important. Very important. And then at 10:30 a.m., there's going to be a exercise demonstration with Linda White of Dance Fuse Studio. So get ready for that. Once again, this weekend, this Saturday at the Prisco Community Center, 150 West Illinois Avenue. The Neighbor Project and the Aurora FEC will be there for you. Also, September 9th and 10th, so Saturday and Sunday, is going to be Fiestas Patrias, celebrating Hispanic heritage. Food, live music, and all kinds of great things. We will be there as well as other great organizations giving out resources for you guys. Once again, Saturday and Sunday, check out the bands. It's going to be at River Edge Park. A fantastic time. And this is a great community event. All right. And then the last thing I got for you, I got one more piece of news for you guys. I'm going to just give it to you. I said I was going to give you two, but you know what? You deserve three. You do. because you're special. Bardwell Residences. They have the fall market coming up Saturday, November 4th, and it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're looking for vendors. They have a booth area. You supply your own table and materials and goods for sale. 301 Weston Avenue is where that's going to be taking place at. Shout out to Bardwell Residences. They're a fantastic senior living community here in Aurora, doing a whole lot. We were last there for National Night Out. That was a great time and great to meet the staff team and the wonderful people who gave us a great tour of that location. All right. Time is 8:37, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. And we're here with our dear friend Annie Kinsley for Life Insurance Awareness Month. All right. Are there any current industry news or trends that people should be on the lookout for? Anything coming up, taking place within the insurance industry that's going to be a benefit to folks?
Well, I think every individual agent will have some type of promotion running on in their neighborhoods.
Yeah.
As far as why we call it Life Insurance Awareness Month is because we want customers to reach out to their agent and go over these life-changing events. So it's just an awareness to make you understand why life insurance is important. Curtis, I got to tell you, every time I bring up the topic, sometimes people just kind of walk away or they have this look on their face like they really don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about the end of life, okay? But it's a reality. We all have a birth certificate. We know the day we were born, but we don't know when the day of our expiration will be. And just as we're prepared for auto insurance in case we're in an accident, or we're prepared with our homeowners insurance in case we have a fire, we need to prepare ourselves for that ending time to see what will happen to our loved ones after I'm not there.
Right.
So each individual agent has their own process that they do. I wanted to be on the show today just to talk about it with you, to let the people know in the audience today how important this topic is, and people fear that it's too expensive. I always tell them, hey, listen, I'll make it work for your budget. Just let me know what your budget is, and then we know what your needs are, and we'll make it work for you.
Right. Yeah. Very special. I've learned, I knew it. Dora Sanchez Soto, good morning. Good morning to our dear friends of McCarty Mills. Happy birthday to Devin, her son, who had a birthday 2 days ago, I think it was.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Devin. Happy birthday. It didn't I didn't have an epiphany, but it's really been coming home now. As I said, my son just turned 11. My father passed away. I just turned 41. It's if you may not have another 40, it's not guaranteed. And I'm dealing with, I feel empowered. I feel smarter. I really do. But I do feel I feel the pressure in a lot more ways now to really make sure that my son's well taken care of. It gets to a point where you're just you're living and working for your child now, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't know, dealing with one's own mortality is heavy stuff. It is,
especially when you have children, you're responsible for them to the end of time, right?
Yeah.
So a quick tidbit for you. I know a lot of people don't realize this, but with life insurance, if you have children, you can actually put them on a rider with your life insurance, and the child is protected up to $20,000 up until their age of 26. So sometimes parents don't realize they could actually protect their kids within their policy. So we talk about that when we do meetings as well. But if they didn't want to put them on their plan, there are individual plans as well for children.
Very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. There are plans for children.
Yeah, no one ever thinks to buy it for their kids, but here's the reason why. Number one, we talked about that it's paid off in 10 or 20 years, or you can continue to pay it. But number two, it guarantees their insurability. So if you have a family of diabetes or heart disease or some type of ailment that your child could possibly get as they get older, if you purchase the policy for them when they're young and healthy, they're already locked in with their insurability. They don't take an exam the way you and I would, Curtis. They don't take an interview. So they're already confirmed the policy. Unless they have a pre-existing condition, there might be some medical records to look at. But the importance of getting it for kids is not only does the policy build cash flow for them for their financial future, but it also locks their insurability in, meaning 11 times in their lifetime, they can upgrade their life insurance with no exam when they get that letter.
Right.
So as they get older and have life-changing events, if they want to upgrade their life insurance, they can do that without an exam or any scrutiny on their health.
Time is 8:42 a.m. So it's Life Insurance Awareness Month. Very helpful stuff. Our dear friend Annie Kinsley is here, able to take any of your questions. You can definitely give her a shout out and a call. And the website.
Oh, yeah. My website is www.annie@thekinsley, KINSLEY, team.com.
All right. Very cool. Yeah, I hope that I do hope that someone can hear the information and definitely reach out to you if they have any questions. This is the whole purpose of the show.
Yep.
The whole purpose of the show is to be able to connect people with those resources and things that are going to help improve their life or make them happy. So happy to do that. Okay. So we talked about the life. Excuse me. We talked about what did I write here? We talked about personal versus employer plans, and we also talked about mortgages and debts and the return premium plan. Is the age 45 to 80? That wasn't always the factor. It's the age range that has changed. Is that correct? That's what's opened up and increased?
Yes. So the guaranteed issue policy that just started is between the age of 45 and 80. However, you can obtain a life policy from age 0 to 80.
Okay.
80 is the cutoff. So you want to make sure that you buy life insurance prior to turning 80. You also want to make sure you buy it early on versus later, because the older you get, the more expensive life insurance can be because you're at a higher risk of possibly passing away.
Right.
So there's different tiers there as well on the premiums based on your age.
Okay. Time is 8:43. So I think what we'll do for the remainder of the show, and this is something that I want to pick your brain about openly here. In Aurora and our community, are you able to assess the health of our community? Like, do we have a lot of folks who are insured or underinsured? What's the status? What's the state of Aurora?
Yeah, Aurora's pretty good. They do take care of their policies very well. They do have very good coverage. I'm impressed. When I do a review with someone, I see that they have adequate coverage and very good plans in place. So I'm proud to say I represent a community that takes care of their insurance needs very well. But there's always room for review with everyone. So every person that calls me or comes into my office, I always want to take a sneak peek at your policies just to let you know, hey, this is something new that came out. Would you be interested in adding this on? Or, hey, you have this. Do you still need this? So they are adequately covered, I feel. But do I feel that everyone has life insurance? Absolutely not.
Right.
I get a lot of more. I have it through my employer. I get it that, right now with inflation, times are tough. But you have to pick and choose what you spend your money on, is how I view it. And if you have a family and you need to take care of their needs after you pass away, it may not be a bad idea to sacrifice a little bit of that premium every month to make sure they're well taken care of. There's so many times that I hear families get displaced. They have to move school districts. If you have a child that's in kindergarten and they've been in that same school district in Aurora for the past 8 years, now they have to move to a totally different school district. Imagine your 8th grader graduating, going to a whole different high school. That's already changed enough as it is to go to a high school in your community, let alone have to move them to another location. Being I'm an immigrant here from Argentina, I've seen in the past where immigrants get separated after someone passes away. They can't afford to live here on their own and they have to go back to their country. When you're raising children here in the United States and they're used to the school districts here and everything, it'd be a shock to have to move them back to the country where they came from and go to school there. There's a lot of dynamics to think about.
Have you worked in communities that didn't have a overall good health or an abundance of folks who are under or not insured at all?
I I did in the past when I was an insurance broker. I noticed that, and I would try to do as many informational seminars as possible. Because I think what happens is people don't know what to ask, Curtis. You know, they'll come into an office and they have no clue what to ask. It's our job as an insurance agent to uncover the need. So I would do a lot of informational seminars at libraries and things like that, just to educate the audience on what's available to them. And if they want to book an appointment with me at the end, great. If I just can answer a few questions just to enlighten them and let them digest and think about what was discussed, that's even better.
How can I help, or how can we help you?
The only way you can help me, Curtis, is I appreciate you always allowing me to be on the air. I love being on the show. I love taking care of my Aurora peeps. I'm fluent in Spanish, so I've always said if anybody in the Hispanic community needs somebody, I can help with that too. I have Letitia, one of my team members, that's also Hispanic, and she can help. I just want to be able to help everyone I can. And so every time I meet somebody new in the city of Aurora, I say, hey, my agency's right on Eola and Ogden. Is there anything I can do in the area that can support something for a good cause? And my word's getting out there. So with your help as well, I can be able to help the community more.
Oh, no problem. Absolutely. You, Java Plus, you guys have been great folks. Great folks, you know, none but love. As you know, we're a team. We're a squad here. Good morning, Aurora from Carlisle Lake. Shout out to Carlisle Lake. Never heard of it. Where's Carlisle Lake at? Anybody ever heard of Carlisle Lake? Sounds peaceful wherever it's at.
For
I would
sure.
like, right? Sounds like a good place to be fishing and chilling right now. Jennifer Ryan Mayton is here. Good morning. Cindy Morales. Good morning. Amy Dermott. Good morning. And Daniel Calderon says, amazing show like always. Enjoy the rest of your day. Love, peace, and happiness. Well, thank you very much for that, Daniel Calderon. Guess the brother's got to go to work. Time is 8:48. Thanks for answering that question. I want to be able to help, and I want to do, as I mentioned with the before we started, kind of the grief thing that we're going to plan. I want to do more. I want to do workshops now. Mm-hmm. I want to do workshops. I would like to be able to host the event or the informational session and setting, because I've seen, you know, we're dealing with people who are going through our foreclosure prevention classes and things like that. And in some of the cases, it's because the spouse or the person who was making the income has passed away. Mm-hmm. And now the remaining family member, some folks have been disabled and haven't worked for a long time. Age discrimination is a real thing in jobs now, has been. And some of these people are in positions where they may lose it all because a family member passed away. Mm-hmm. And those are not the kind of issues that anyone should be dealing with on top of grief. Gosh, it's just so gut wrenching. So I hope that I look forward to working with you, because I'd like to do something like that. I want to have an educational session and just ask the plain up question to folks, like, listen, are you insured? If you are, great. If you're not, step over here, meet Annie, just kind of brainstorming. But that's what I want to do. I want to reach as many people as we can and hopefully help change their life if we can do that.
Absolutely. And that was my mission when I became an agent 2 years ago in the city here. I said I want to educate the audience. I want to do as many community events as possible to get the word out and just to let you know, plant that seed. If it's not today, it's maybe next week or a year from now, but at least you heard about it.
Right.
And it's so important to do that. So that is the commitment I made when State Farm interviewed me and said, why do you want to become a State Farm agent? I said, because I'm passionate about educating people about their insurance needs, and I'm passionate about meeting people in my community and just helping out wherever I can.
Nice. Would you like to be a guest speaker at our Compañeros en Salud meeting next month?
Sure.
Okay.
Love to do that.
I think it'd be very helpful. Great group of folks. We got breakfast too. So
great.
Yeah. I'll definitely keep you in the loop with the information. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, the last thing I'm going to tell you guys about is I'm going to go back to how I started with this. So I promise you, the last piece of news. Curtis, man, you keep taking us to a commercial. I know I know, but it's because I love you to death. That's why. Since we mentioned Java Plus, and I want to give a complete shout out again to Dan and our friend Javier over there. Please go check out their lunch specials that they have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the weekend lunch specials. Excuse me. On your screen there, you have the Cuban, hibiscus, and strawberry iced tea, and cafe con leche as well. Everything that they have is delicious, especially the Cuban sandwich. I've had it. It's fantastic. It's a good-sized portion as well. Comes with chips, and you'll love it. You guys will really enjoy it. And please keep your eye out for the different things that happen at Java Plus. Java Plus is a fantastic coffee shop and community space, too. Open for folks to come there and share. All right. So, as you know, because this is your third time on the show ends on a positive note. So, what's your message today? You gave a great message with life insurance awareness month. But what's your message today for the people of Aurora?
Well, the message today is, it was a rainy morning, but as I sit in the studio, the sun is peeking through the window.
It is.
I want you to think about all the blessings that you have in your life. And no matter what road it takes you to, do the best that you can do with your life and move forward. Always push forward. So the sun is out. Get out there. Stop at Java Plus and get a coffee. Do what you got to do to make it right today.
That's a great message. That is such a great message. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys have a blessed, positive, fantastic day today. Please take heed of the information, and if it can benefit you, your family, or a loved one, please reach out to our dear friend Andy Kinsley, 2590 Ogden Avenue in Aurora. I hope that you guys take care of yourself and each other. As we always tell you, Good Morning Aurora returns on Friday. See you then. Be blessed.